Hey, how you doing? Welcome to another time here at the book club. We missed 2 Sundays now trying to get this done. So you said, hey, we got to do this. We're doing this on a Monday. We typically do this on Sundays at 2 p.m. But the last 2 Sundays has proved difficult to do. So we need to take
Hey, how
up
you doing? Welcome to
this
another time
week,
here at the
you
book
know.
club.
We missed two
So
Sundays now trying to get this done. So you said, hey, we got to do this. Let me take the echo away. So we're doing this here on a Monday just to kick off this part of the week. We've been trying to get off chapter 6 of a book. In a book club, for those of you that are probably not used to this and joining us for the first time, it's just a book club I got to do on Sunday afternoons, West African time, and we've read 5 books. We're on a sixth book, and this is the book we're on right now, the sixth book in our series, The Good Life. We're presently reading chapter 6 of that, right? These are our TED take on chapter 6. Hopefully, to finish chapter 6 today. And our next meet next Sunday, we're gonna do chapter 7. We'll start with chapter 7. This is a book that has been that covers 85 plus years study, pretty much asking the question, what makes for a good life, right? And the answer is that it is relationships, right? If we have the right amount of relationship and the right quality of those relationships, that's what helps us to have a good life, both to have a lot, both in the longevity and in the width, right? The quality of the life and the longness of the life, the health, we in our being, to have that life. And so when looking at the book, though with that conclusion, we then begin to talk about different aspects of relationships. We're talking about challenges to relationship. We're talking about being socially fit, which is pretty much our propensity, to be able to create relationship and also to maintain existing relationship. It's not just about creating relationship, but also being able to maintain the relationship. When we're able to create relationship in the essential aspects, areas of our life, and able to also maintain those relationship, it helps the quality of our life. It helps us to be able to get the very best out of life. We're able to harness life. It takes relationship, right quality relationship to be able to harness the goodness, the beauty, the richness that life has to offer. Right? We're not created to live this life alone. We're not created to do this life alone. We cannot do this life in our own strength. We need others to be able to get the fullness, the full benefit of life. Against like I like to say most times, the essence of our life is not found within us. The essence of our life is found outside of us, right? Everything that takes place on the inside of our constitution, the inside of our being is to prepare us, and enable us to be able to engage with things that are outside of our being, which means engaging with other people, other things other than ourselves. The preparedness that takes place on the inside of us determines our ability to fully harness the things that are outside of us. You know, I like to relate this to Stephen Covey's book, talks about the 7 habits of highly effective people. And you see, Stephen Covey divides his book into 3 parts. He talks about the war within, winning the war within. Yeah. When we win the war within, then we can win the war without. And it closes it with the seventh habit, which is pretty much keeping that balance that we don't get exhausted out of life. So relationships are very important and critical in our lives, so and that's what we get to learn from this book. That's what we've been learning from this book. If you feel free if you want to catch all we've been discussing, we're doing this since July of last year. So this is our 7th month discussing this book, discussing the topic. So on my YouTube channel, you can find all our discussions there. You can find some on Instagram Live also. You know, Everything is compiled also on our Facebook group that is set up for this also. So if you look for book club, with Aki, with the Saint, you'll find that on Facebook also. But today we're going to go on to the last part of chapter 6 and try to close out chapter 6. And what we've been talking about in chapter 6 is pretty much facing the music of life, facing life as it is. A lot of people run away from life, they try to escape life. The only way to truly escape life is to die. For as long as you are alive, you cannot escape life, right? You're either going to engage life proactively, or life will engage you. One way or the other, you are going to engage life. You're either going to proactively engage life, or you're going to be reactive to the issues of life. One, you will win, the other one, you will lose, right? If you don't actively, proactively, intentionally engage life, you're most probably going to lose the battles and the war of life. To win the war of life, you have to be intentional. You have to be proactive, right? And you have to be proactive, intentional, and actively engage life. You have to decide the life that you want, the life that you need. The life that is meant for you will not come to you of its own accord. You have to step out to get that life. It is a fishing process. That life is available, but it's not going to come your way of its own accord, right? You have been given everything that you need to go fish that life, get that life, hunt that life. If you don't do the hunting, if you don't do the fishing, that life is not going to be yours. It is available, but you gotta go how to get it. It's not gonna find you in your comfort zone. You gotta learn how to step out of your comfort zone to get the life that is meant for you. God wants that life for you. God intends that life for you, but you gotta step out of your comfort zone to get it, right? And that's what we've been looking at in chapter 6, how to face life, how to face the issues of life, because that most time is what defeats people. People stand up and they have all that, oh, I'm ready to go life. But life hits you. How do you respond? Not react. How do you respond? Not react. How do you respond? Not react. Let's go. We're going to bring on my slide like I always do. And we're going to take the last part here of chapter 6, facing the music of life, facing life, So, like a getter tells you every time, Instagram live, you're not going to get to see my slide, Flores, thanks for coming along. I see Josh also coming along. Thank you for coming along. I hope you enjoy it. I hope he blesses you. But I'm going to bring up my slide here. You won't see it on Instagram live, but you get to see it on YouTube. You get to see it on Facebook also. But Instagram live does not have provision for me to share my slides. So you're going to see that something that is better than my slide, which is me, myself, I hope you enjoy it. I hope he blesses you. All right. But for those here on, Instagram, on YouTube, let's go get those slides. All right, great. On YouTube, you get to see it. On Facebook later on, you get to see it. All right, it's a good life, right? And I'm gonna go. So yeah, we're talking about the book. Those are two authors, Robert Waldinger and Marc Schulz, right? They are heads, at the Harvard School for study on adult development. They've been doing study on adult development, how to grow, develop accurately, rightly as an adult. So you're looking for what it takes to develop right as an adult, right? A lot of people do about children, but we adults also develop, right? As we've been look at different stages of our life. We come as children, then from children we translate from childhood to adulthood. We call that adolescence, right? We go to the adolescent period. Now, when we then have translated into adulthood, there are different stages in adulthood. Also, there is a young adult, there is a middle adult, there is an old adult. Then there's also the centurions, right? 100 and above. But the different phases of life, because we change, we transform. right? We're changing internally. There are different hormones that are causing different development in our being, our constitution, right? At the same and the way we change then determines our disposition to life as a whole. It changes the expectation of life of us. It changes our responsibility. It changes our tendency. Once I had someone who say sometimes that every man and woman are the same. They're not. Right. In a sense, we're all the same at human level. When we talk about humanity, right, we're all the same, right? Irrespective of how old you are, we're all the same on the humanity level. But when you then go beyond the humanity, there's a difference between a child and an adolescent. There's a difference between an adolescent and a young adult. There's a difference between an adolescent and someone who is going through midlife. There's a difference between one who is in midlife and someone who is an old adult. There's a difference between an old adult and those in their centuries all of that. Right. There's a difference. You'll be foolish to think there's not a difference. You're changing. For one thing, you're a child, you're very dependent. Adolescence, you begin to rebel, you want to get independence. Young adult, you have your independence, and you have all that strength, but yet you don't have wisdom, right? As you get the wisdom in the middle life, but you are then also feeling in strength, in energy, right? You get into the adult life, you're not as strong as you used to be, but you're supposed to have wisdom to compensate for the strength you do not have, right? Your ability to use this would make a difference in your life. Your ability to rightly harness your being a child will determine the quality of your life. Your ability to harness your adolescence period will determine the quality of your life. Your ability to harness your young adult period will determine the quality of your life. Your ability to harness your middle life will determine the quality of your life. Your ability to harness your whole life will determine the quality of your life. There are things you can do at each stage. There are things you are not supposed to do, which you do, then you'll be hurting yourself, right? There are things you have. There are things you don't have, right? There are boundary conditions. There are spectrum along which you can work, right? When you know this and rightly apply it, it makes a difference in your life, right? Great. So we're going to catch that up. So this is part 3 on chapter 6 of the book, facing the music, facing life, facing the music of life, facing life as it is, leaning into life, leaning into life, leaning into life, not staying away from life, leaning into life, leaning into life, not staying away from life, facing life intentionally, proactively, right? And we looked at these 2 quotes earlier on in trying to do this. It talks about there's a crack in everything, and that's how the light gets in. We're human beings, right? Jesus Christ was making a statement that it's only the sick that need a doctor. If you're not sick, then you don't need a doctor. A lot of people are sick, they don't know that they are sick, and they're claiming to be healed, and they cannot get help. You have a lot of depressed people. If only they're going to shout out, I need help, I need help. Someone might come to your rescue. But when you're too proud, when you're too full of yourself and say, I'm okay, nobody's going to help you. If you need help, cry out for help, ask for help. Jesus Christ says, he that asks will be given. He that seeks will find. He that knocks, the door will be open unto. But if you don't ask, you ain't going to receive. If you don't seek, you ain't going to find. If you don't knock, the door will not be open to you, and you're just going to die where you are. We need help. We can do with help. We're here to be helped. Nobody comes here already made. God set our life in such a way that we all need help. Right? As a child, you are dependent, you need help. Hopefully, as your hormones begin to flow and you go through your adolescent period, you begin to transform from a child to an adult. You need help. You need help. People have gone there before you. You are confused at that point in time. You can do with some help, right? People who have passed there before you. That's why the Bible says, honor your father and your mother so that you will live long. You will live long. Honor them, honor their journey, honor their experience, right? There's nothing new under the earth. There's nothing you're going through that they have not gone through. When you honor them, you will respect their rags. You respect their experience because it will make a difference in your life. It will make your whole life better, right? But all right. So the second quote here we look at, it says there are two pillars of happiness, right? One is love. Love gives us happiness, right? Easy. You get a love, gives you happiness. But sometimes, you know, uh, you're hurt. You don't get love immediately. Your ability to go through that difficult period when what you want is not easily coming your way will make a difference in your happiness. Sometimes we get what we want. Someone loves us. Your husband loves you. Your father loves you. Your brother loves you. But it's not always like that. When you don't get what you want, when the sun does not shine upon you, your ability to wait, your ability to endure till that time comes will make a difference in your life. So there are two pillars of happiness. One that we get easily, right? Someone does something for us, we get the happiness. There's also the one we have to work out ourselves, right? Sometimes the sun does not shine. Sometimes the day does not break. Would you wait? Would you wait or give up? Your ability to endure will determine the happiness in your life. Your ability to handle the darkness, the night, will make a difference in your life. There are different things you can do. You can either be defeated or refuse to be defeated. You know, you can either bury your head in the sand or you stand up and look up. Right? I love Les Brown. Les Brown says when you fall down, fall down with your face up, right? So you can look up to get up, not look down to stay down. You look up to get up, not look down to stay down. You look up to get up, not to look down to stay down, right? Japanese proverb will say fall 7 times, rise 8 times, right? Nobody's gonna get you up. You gotta learn to stand up yourself. Falling is not a problem. Everybody falls. It's staying down is for losers. Winners get up. Winners find their way back up, right? We all fall, but we don't all get up. Winners get up. Losers are wishing that someone will come and pick them up. And I've been there before. We've all been there before. I remember times in depression, I was just waiting on God to come pick me up. Oh, God, come pick me up. God, pity me. Pity your son, God, come pick me up. He didn't. I waited for 2 years that God will come and pick me up. God loves me enough to come pick me from the mud. He did not. I had to get tired of waiting. I got myself up because God didn't come pick me up. The things God expects you to do for yourself. There are things God expects you to do for yourself. There are things life expects of you to do for yourself. And you will probably wait the rest of your life, hoping that life will do it for you. If you don't do it for yourself, you will die there. There was that man that Jesus Christ met at the pool. Been there for 38 years, 38 years, 38 years, almost 40 years, 4 decades. He was expecting someone. He told Jesus, no, man. He was expecting someone to come pick him up. Is that not the state of a lot of us? You're not married. Someone will find me. Someone will find me. You're not rich. Someone will give me money. Someone will give me money. That's useless, man. That's not the way God created us. God didn't create us to be useless. God didn't create us to be waiting for someone. God created us to take the bull by the horn. Take the bull by the horn. Take the bull by the horn. Step out. How can I make it? How can I get married? How can I make a difference in my life? How can I go to the next level? What are the things I can do? Not the things I cannot do. What are the things I can do? How can I start doing them? You begin to do them. Life is not going to hold you responsible for the things you cannot do. Life will hold you responsible for the things you can do. And until you do the things you can do, the things you cannot do will not be available to you. When you do the things you can do, the things you cannot do will become things you can do, or they'll open up of their own accord. Life's demand is that you do the things you can do. The things you cannot do will take care of themselves, right? There's no waiting on anybody. There's no destiny helper anywhere coming to help you. You got to help yourself. When you help yourself, serendipity will find you. That is luck, right? A planned luck. The serendipity is a word, unexpected luck. It happens to those who are intentional, who are proactive, those who step out and do all that they can do. Life has a way of supporting you. We call it providence, has a way of surprising you with serendipity. Life will find you if only you step out and begin to do the things you can do. 2024, don't sit down waiting for somebody. Don't sit down and be deceived, but there's the helper, there's the helper. Stop it! Don't be like that man by the pool waiting for 38 years. You can change your life today, 22nd of January, 2024. Begin to find out what are the things I can do, what are the differences I can make in my life. Begin to do them. When you do them, providence will find you. Providence will blow in your direction. Doors will begin to open to you. Life will begin to answer to you. It will not find you in your comfort zone. It will not find you warming your buttocks, to find you when you're on the way doing all that you can do. And that the story of Abraham's servant comes to mind for me. He says, while I was on the way, the Lord helped me. While I was on the way, serendipity helped me. Serendipity found me. Luck found me. The promise found me. Providence helped me. I found the right wind. You won't find it in your comfort zone. You'll find it when you step out and begin to do the things you can do. That's when life finds you. That's when your life begin to change for the better. That's when you begin to find life. You begin to be the architect, the leader of your life. You begin to make the difference, begin to break in. You begin to take your place or at a table. Right, right. Don't die in silence. Don't die wishing. Step out and begin to make a difference in your life. Right? Yeah, let's go on. So, what we're talking about last week, it was where we stopped last week. We're looking at the WISER model, WISER, which is something Robert Waldinger and Marc had come up with, which is a way by which we respond to life. When things happen around us, instead of us reacting, it's a way by which we can rightly respond to the issues of life. W there stands for watch, 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 step back, understand the things that is at play, step out of the frame, right? So you can see the full picture. Don't be lost in the frame. Step out of the frame, see what is going on, observe, observe what is going on, take it in, see the different things at play. Right? So you see the different things that are at play. Have a strategic look over the thing or the issue of life, right? So that's what W is for. High is that we begin to interpret what we have seen. What does it mean? What are the stakes? What are the things to be lost? What is the opportunity cost? What are the people, how are people aligning themselves, or setting themselves up, then. Oh, Mike, thanks for coming along. Good to see you. So the word highlight is interpreting what you see. The word X there is what's X for again? X is to select. Select what you want to do. I hope I'm correct. Let's just go look at that. I'm not let's see X. S obviously is to select. Select, the option, E is to engage, and R is pretty much to reflect and check over that. We'll take that in little pieces again. Just wanted to give a quick summary of what the wiser model is on that. Ellen de Botton, is a Jew. He wrote this book on relationships, right? The school of life. I love it. I love Ellen de Botton. I've listened to uh, a few of his YouTube talks, talks on relationship. I love it. And I had to buy his book, and he says that few things promise us greater happiness than our relationships, right? Our relationship promises happiness. I am happy when my wife, it's kind of funny, yesterday my wife was talking to me and I said, wow. I had to leave everything to hear her because sometimes she doesn't talk to me, we have a family challenge, been through this our 6th year going through it, at different times. I have to, each between my wife and myself will carry some different burden, that it pleases my heart to hear my wife talk to me, spend that time to share her heart with me, because sometimes she just holds it to herself, and that doesn't help relationship. That doesn't make me happy when she doesn't communicate, right? So I just hear my wife talking yesterday, and I just left every other thing to listen to her, to be present. It takes two to tango, right? And as much as I say my wife doesn't talk, now when she talks, how do I respond? It makes a whole lot of difference on whether she will talk more next time. If in my business, I don't give her the attention when she's talking, guess what? She ain't gonna talk more. Because don't forget, uh, everybody wants to be seen, to be heard, and to be loved. Attention is one way by which we'll give that to others. When I give you attention, I'm telling you that you are seen, you are heard, and you are loved. When I give you attention, I'm telling you that you are seen, you are heard, and you are loved. When I don't give you attention, I'm probably telling you you're invisible. Well, I don't have to say that with my words, my actions. That's what someone gets when you're not giving the person attention. You're saying, yeah, I can see you. I can hear you. I don't really love you. And that's why a lot of relationships have problems. The man probably expects, oh, I give you money. The woman probably expects, I give you sex. Love is more than that. The emotional connection is more than that. Intimacy is more than that. The word intimacy is intimacy. Intimacy, right? Is to be seen, to be heard, and to be loved, right? Intimacy, right? So we get that from relationship when those things are present, right? Uh, Yeah, but and as much as relationship can bless us, they can, when someone you love is not seeing you, when someone you love is not hearing you, it can hurt you deeply, deeply, deeply. So you find people that love one another fighting just because they don't understand this basic foundational issues. I love you, but I'm pretty busy right now. I can't hear you. What you're saying is, I love you, but I don't love you. So it cancels out. I love you, but I don't love you. Because if I truly love you, I have to show you that you're visible to me. I can hear you, right? If I can't show you that you're visible to me and I can hear you, I truly don't love you. Attention is one of the key ways we give love, we show love. Love is not just an emotion. Love is something that you show by what you do. If I say I love you, then I gotta hear you. I gotta show you that you're visible, that you make a difference to me. It doesn't matter every other thing, right? It's an emotional connection thing, right? So sometimes, relationship as much as can give us pleasure, sometimes the people we love don't understand these basic things and they can hurt us this deeply, you know. And sometimes we think we know these things. We don't. We don't. I've lived life thinking I knew this, and I've probably been hurt. I've hurt somebody. I've chased after a relationship for 11 years, but in my stupidity, I probably didn't do the right things. I probably thought I knew and did something else, and chased after a relationship in frustration, not doing the right things. As much as I love this person, I just didn't know the basic things around relationship, and it didn't work. So that's why I do a lot of relationship talking today, is because I've been there. I've been through the mud. I've made mistakes, right? I'm teaching you from my mistakes. I've made mistakes. I've learned. Most of the things I talk about, I didn't just read in a book. I've been there. I've hurt people and I've been hurt myself, right? Though sincere, I have never intentionally hurt anybody. I've only hurt people because of my ignorance, right? I've worked within the limit of what I know, But when you know more, you can do better. So I know more, I'm doing better. And I'm sharing with you and learning from you also. Don't get carried away that I know a lot. I'm learning myself. That's one of the things I do with the book club. When I share, the more I share, the first person that listens to me talking is myself. I'm talking first to myself. So I'm not, this is not to do as if I know. I'm also learning. I'm talking to myself, first of all, right? Before any other person. So I'm learning. I'm in a continuous process of learning. Don't forget again, we're sharing from a book. This is not just my knowledge. I'm learning. And I love Michelangelo on his dying bed said, I'm still learning. Michelangelo was still learning on his dying bed. Who am I? I'm still learning. We're all learning. The way to win in life is to keep learning. The day you stop learning, that day you start dying. There's no pride in showing off learning. It's what are you getting from it? It's more important to be productive than to be prideful about what I know or don't know. Knowledge will puff you up. That's what the scripture says. If it's stuff, just go by. I know. Useless. What is your knowledge producing? That's more important. I'd rather be more after me being productive than to show off people that are what I know or don't know. Right? Let's go on. So we're gonna. So love is a skill to be learned. That's what Ellen de Botton says. It's a skill to be learned. A relationship is a skill to be learned. None of us brings it up from heaven. Right? We'll learn. We'll make mistakes. We'll learn from our mistakes and we'll get better. Love is a skill to be learned rather than just an emotion to be felt. A lot of people make a mess of their life. They didn't get taught through their adolescence when those hormones begin to flow. They think it's just, I feel love. I feel love. No, that's love. That's lost, right? You're trying to use somebody. When you love somebody, you'll wait. You'll hold back. You'll be more matured. Love is not that thing that's shaking you, that infatuation, that and love, right? Love is not being hypnotized. Love is still being under control. When you lose control, it's not love, it's lost. Love is under control. Love is intentional. Love is proactive, right? Love is intentional. Love is proactive, right? It's not that reactive thing of just going for or being seduced or being hypnotized. If you are living under an hypnotism, you understand love is lost. Love is intentional. Love is proactive. Love makes decisions, right? Love is responsible, right? So let's go on. So last week we stopped, we looked at watch. So we're going to key in here and continue with interpretation, the I part of the wiser model, right? So and the wiser model is just a way of helping us not to live life out of reaction, being reactive, but out of responsibility, making decisions, making judgment on what we do, right? And it ties with Jesus Christ says that when someone slaps you on one side, turn the other one, right? And a lot of people in religion just thinks that is you going to look for people to slap you. That's not what Jesus is saying. Jesus is saying be responsible. When someone does anything to or against you, that is their responsibility. They are responsible for that action. What you are responsible for what you do, right? You can never give an excuse that I slapped you because you slapped me. That is foolishness. That's immaturity. They are responsible for slapping you. You are responsible for what you do after, whether you hold back or you slap back. You are responsible. And I love it. One of the policemen, put something out on this, our new talk of no greed 2024. And it makes it clear, if you slap the person falls and die, you go to jail. You won't say because the person slapped you, right? So you are responsible for what you do. You are responsible for your reaction. You are responsible for your maturity or immaturity. There's never an excuse. That's all Jesus is talking about. Not talking about you going about looking for one to slap you. Just saying be responsible. Never give excuses for your life. Don't ever do something because someone did something. Do something because you decide to. Be intentional, be proactive, be in control. Be intentional, be proactive, be in control, right? That's the whole essence here of talking about the wiser model. So last week we talked about the W, right? All right, so this is some month notes here on the reaction on I'm going to jump all of this. We did it last week. We're just repeating it. And I think we talked about the interpretation last week. So last week, not last week, last time around in the B part of this, we talked about watching and interpreting. And I've talked about pretty much what it means to watch is to seize what is happening. Someone slaps you, take 2 steps backwards. What's going on here? Why did they slap me? Did I do something wrong? Am I in a zone? Out within my zone? Is it waking me up, or is it trying to hurt me? Am I in his territory? Is it the only one? Are there other people with him? Observe. Size up the environment. Again, take 2 steps backwards, step out of the frame so you can see the whole picture of what's going on, right? Then interpretation is, all right, what are the stakes here? What do I stand to lose? What do I stand to gain? I'll give an example. This one time someone sent me a stupid email on a Saturday, you know. Unfortunately, someone had told me earlier on that person had posted somewhere and said, hey, I'm gonna get hacking, I'm gonna do this, So I was kind of prepared in my mind for that person. And he now sends me a stupid email on a Saturday morning. I did not watch. I did not interpret. I jumped on it. I jumped on that email and just you know. Well, uh, I won the battle. I put him in his place. I told him, I talked him off, but I lost the war. I won the battle, but I lost the war. It cost me a promotion. It cost me a good grade that year. It cost me money, but my take home was reduced. I could have done differently. I could have taken 2 steps backwards and just watch, interpret, look at what is at stake, and could have taken a better respond. I could have responded better than I did. But I was carried away by my emotion. I was carried away by my pride. I was carried away by my stupidity. Yes, I won the battle, but I lost the war. I won the battle, but I lost the war. In life, you want to win the war, not the battle. It's more important to win the war of life than to win every single battle. Some battles you choose to lose so you can win the war. Those that succeed in life win the war, not just the battle. Those that become rich win the war, not just the battle. Those that are successful win the war, not just the battle. If you want to win in life, you got to win the war, not just every battle. So step back, ask yourself, what's at stake? What do I stand to lose? If, depending on what I do, what do I stand to lose here? What's at stake? So it's watch, interpret. So we're going to jump in here and talk about select. So when I watch, interpret, I'll probably have several options. Then the next thing is to choose which option to take. That's the S in the wiser. You choose the option, right? So I haven't looked at what's at stake. You look at the option. If I do A, what are the outcomes? Don't forget, you have a right to choose the option, but for every option, there are consequences. So I've watched, I've interpreted. There are options to take. For each option, there are their own consequence, right? So whatever option I choose, I don't have a right to decide the consequence because each option has its own consequence. I can't choose A and want the consequence of B. If I choose A, then I'm going to get the consequence of A, not the consequence of B. So when I look and I want to respond to life, and whatever option I choose, I'm choosing the consequence of that option, right? So that's what I do after I've watched, I've interpreted, I select the option that I believe is the best one for me. So I'm not under the influence of the moment. My mind is sound. Bible says God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. When I step back out of the frame to work and to interpret, I am exercising a sound mind. I'm exercising a mind that is under control. I'm exercising a mind that is not clouded. I'm exercising a mind that is conscious, is aware, is not lost in the moment, but is still very much alive. I'm able to take in everything that is happening, right? So when I do that, so it's my place to select, right? And I'm choosing from the option, and there are, consequences that go with each one that I do, right? My ability to select here is also being strategic, right? I'm not just lost in the tactical, the thing I want to do, but I'm asking myself, what's the best way to use the things that are at my disposal, right? And that's what I do when I do select, from the options that I have in front of me. All right. Thanks. Thanks for coming along. All right. So the key is to try to slow things down, right? Where you can. You zoom in and move from a fully automatic response to a more considered and purposeful response that aligns with who you are and what you are seeking to accomplish. I love that. I was just thinking the other day, eh, I don't know why, but one of my weak points in years past has just been when things aren't going my way. Even when things are going my way, I get to talk a lot. You know, when I'm in the right mood, in the right place, I seem to talk more than I need to. And one of the things I'm doing these days as part of maturity is reducing my amount of talking, because sometimes I say things that are not who I am. I'm just under the moment. I'm just under the emotion at that point in time. You know, I know I have that tendency, so I'm working on that. So one of the things this helps you is just to ask yourself again what works. Sometimes we say things that are not doesn't reflect who we are, who we say we are. And we don't really mean it, but it's just the way we feel at that point in time. Right? I see parents who curse their children. They don't really mean to curse their children. This is more on my tradition, my Yoruba people. When you're speaking to their children, say, "Oh, kone da fun e," it won't be well with you. They don't really mean it, but that's the way they feel at that point in time, right? But the words are still just as powerful. The words are still just as effective negatively on that child. Right. I remember my cousin, being under such words, and that eats away on the sense of self of that child. That eats on the self-esteem of that child. And without self-esteem, we're nothing in life. That's why most people in the third world they behave less than they should be. You have people from the third world go into negotiation with people from more developed country, and they come out short, right? Because they don't have the self-esteem. They think of themselves less than they should be. And that has come from the environment in which they grew up. Someone has talked less to them. Someone has not affirmed their personality. Someone has not spoken positive words to build them up on the inside. They feel less about themselves as they should than they should. So therefore, that affects their interaction with other people. Sometimes that comes from people around us. We're just talking, not because they necessarily mean it, but they're talking out of their emotion at that point in time. That used to be in a place I used to worship. I hear it's getting better. The pastor doesn't necessarily mean a lot of things that he says, but it doesn't reduce the effect on the people. He might not mean it, but the effect is still the same. But when we step back and take ownership of our life, then we know to choose our words. We know what to say and what not to say, so that we can be a blessing, whether intentionally or unintentionally, to those that are hearing us. Right? So when you step back to understand what's going on, you interpret it, then you come to a place to select. You are making a judgment. That's what Jesus Christ is saying. He's saying when they slap you, make a judgment. Sometimes the right judgment is to slap the person back. If that's the right judgment, slap the person back. That's what Jesus is saying. Slap the person back if that is the right choice. Sometimes that is the right choice. But just saying that whatever you do, you are responsible for it. So sometimes that might not be the right choice to slap the person back. But whatever it is, whatever choice you make, you are responsible for it. The consequence you will bear. Right? So that's all we're talking about here, Whatever you do or not do in life, every waking day, you are responsible. 2024, don't just do things. Sit back. Count the cost. Decide. You are responsible for your decision. Jesus Christ would say, before you go to war, you first of all count, what do I have? Can I win this war? Don't just go in the middle of it. You already slapped the person and you realize, wow. No, you're going to bear the consequence. And God ain't going to protect you. Sorry. Whatever you sow, you're going to reap it. So that's why God is telling you ahead of time. Think before you sow. Think before you sow. Because when you sow, you'll reap it. Think before you sow. Because when you sow, you'll reap it. Right? So after I've decided what choice I want to take, then I do it. Even that requires me to be strategic, right? Even though I've selected the right choice, I then have to think about the right way to execute it. Is the E in the wiser, is to engage, is implementing that which you have decided, right? So once you've selected a strategy, you need to engage. And at this stage, the option can be unique to the circumstance, right? And that's we'll talk about mindfulness. Sometimes we'll make a right decision, but we implement it wrongly. Just because I made a right decision is not the end of the story. I have to implement my decision in a right way. There is a right way of doing things. There's a right way of doing the right thing, and there's a wrong way of doing the right thing. I know someone was trying to get back to the wife. They've had issues, husband and wife. Guess what? He planned for the wife's birthday, planned a vacation, an expensive getaway for the wife, bought flowers. Guess what? The wife didn't receive it. It was a good thing. Good getaway, expensive. Flower, expensive. But it did not break the genes. It did not connect them, because there's a right way to do the right thing. There's a wrong way to do the right thing. The way you present that expensive gift will determine whether it will be received or not. The fault is not necessarily the wife's. It might just be the husband. He's decided on the right thing to do, but there's a right way to do the right thing, just as there's a wrong way to do the right thing. Just because you've decided to do the right thing is not the end of the story. You got to find out the right way to do it, the right way to engage. Don't come and practice that which is done in another environment, in this environment, that is not taking cognizance of the uniqueness of the environment. You got to be mindful of the environment you're trying to execute it in and what works in that particular environment. It might have worked in another one. You need to climatize it, weatherize it to the environment you are trying to implement it in, right? So chances of success also increase if you first reflect on what we do well and what we don't do well, right? So if you know you got to know yourself also. After we've talked about all the environment, you have to ask yourself, what am I good at? And how can I implement what I'm good at in this particular environment? Don't copy what someone else is. If you're a good talker, then use your talking. If you're not a good talker, just do it the way you can. Just say the few words and use your action to cover it. But you got to be cognizant of who you are, what your strengths and your weaknesses are, and what the particular situation is, and fit the two together to make it work, right? So after we've done engaging, then we'll learn from the whole experience, and that's the our part. Is the reflecting, right? So after you've done the whole thing, learn from the experience, and when you learn, you gotta be open. Like the experience I talked about when the wife did not receive that expensive getaway flower. What should have been done is to sit back and ask the question, what went wrong? What did I do wrongly? Why didn't she receive it? Was it me or was it her? See, if she had received the expensive gift, then she would have cheapened the relationship. She wanted him more than the gift. But the way it was presented, it looked like she wanted the gift more than him. If she doesn't receive it, it's because she treasures the relationship, not because she hates you. She's telling you that it's more than just the gift. There's something more that I want. You won't see that if you're carried away by the emotions of being offended. You gotta see beyond that. Gotta step back, step out of the frame so you can see the whole picture. Understand what's happening so you can learn from it and do better. Right? And that's what the R is right? Look at what worked, what didn't work, and you can learn from it and do better next time, because life will keep on happening. You can share with someone else. It becomes your rag to help someone else with. It becomes your rag also to do better next time, right? So when it's all over, the consideration of what happened and why help us to see things we may have missed and helps us understand the causes and effects of those emotional cascades that may have escaped our notice. If we're going to learn from our experience and do better next time, we have to do more than just live through it. We got to reflect. You got to do more than just live 20 and 23. 2023, what did you do well? What didn't you do well? What can you do better in 2024? Don't let 2023 go to waste. Have you reflected on 2023? You didn't do some things well. I don't have to be a prophet to tell you that. You didn't do some things well. What are you going to do about it in 2024? You did some things well. What are you doing about it in 2024? What more of it can you do in 2024? Right? So, and that's pretty much all I have. It is a wiser model. We watch, we interpret, we select the option, we engage, and we reflect. That's a model being presented here in this book, one of the ways by which we face life. Life hits you the wrong way. Step back, step out of the frame, understand what went wrong. What did I do right? What did I do wrong? What did I take for granted? What did I overlook? Interpret it. What are the stakes? What can I do to what will be the results? What do I stand to lose? Right? Select what action to take, engage and do those things. Reflect, do a feedback so you can do better and continue the circle. That's life. We'll continue doing that every day of our life. We'll continue to get better, right? So it's a way by which we don't just do things out of emotions, right? But we do things that are that have a base, that are factual. You know, Life does not run on emotions, even though we have emotions. Life runs on principles and laws. Principles and laws. Principles and laws. Life will not respond to your emotion. Life will respond to principles and laws. Principles and laws, right? So the way to win in life, principles and laws, right? So it's not how emotional you are. The world we live in is the world we create, right? Whatever you live, what the environment we live in is the environment we create. The reality we live in is the reality we create. You are responsible for the life you're living right now. You created it. If your life is going to change and get better, guess who's going to change it? You. You're responsible for changing the life you have right now to the life that you want. You just need to step back and ask, what can I do better? What can I do differently? And begin to do it, right? In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the expert's mind, there are only few, right? It's not in the many, it's in the few. It's in the few that you get to do. It's not all the options. It's in the few that you get to do. That's what changes your life. That's what makes your life better. That's how you face life. I hope this time has blessed you. I hope you've learned one thing or the other. Feel free. You can add something to it. You can share with me. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me here on Instagram. Feel free. I'm going to load this on my reel after I'm done here on Instagram Live. It's going to be on YouTube. It's probably on YouTube Live right now. It's going to be on my YouTube channel. I'm going to come here and put it on Facebook also. Feel free. You can add your thoughts to all I've shared. Something I said you don't like, you don't understand, you don't agree with, feel free. I want to learn from you also. Something you don't understand, feel free to ask questions. And I can share the little I know from Flo, and other people might chip in and maybe answer you better than I can. Feel free. For me, this is just a learning experience, right? I'm growing. I'm growing. But thanks for coming along. Thanks, Florence. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, Mike, my dear friend, beloved friend, all the way from secondary school. And EO, I'm not sure who you are, but I love you. Thanks for coming along. Thanks for those on YouTube watching this. Thanks. It's been a pleasure and a privilege to be here. All right, catch you on Sunday, the 28th, when we come back with chapter 7. God bless you. Thanks for coming along. All right, bye-bye. I'm going to shut this off now.